Welcome to the Perceiver of Sound League. Give yourself a silent clap. I can't hear you. Hey, more out of you later. And that means you are inside of the Sound Research Studio series here at Elsewhere Living Art Museum. This is a sacred, safe space. We are in the love sphere bubble, and so don't pop yourself out of it. Eventually, we will have to go out into Elm Street and integrate our experiences out there. But right now, we're in a timeless, believe it or not, anti-materialistic realm. And sometimes it takes a bombardment of stuff to really recognize the space surrounding and within everything. I'm Gavin Glass, and if you have any questions, just ask. Today, we are going to talk about the music. Not music, or a particular type of music. But this is with a capital T and a capital M. Never heard of it? I bet everyone in the room enjoys music of some kind. What's more, you may have really strong opinions about it, right? No fighting here over what genre is the best, because people get really passionate about music. So we all know what music is, la 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 la, but what is the music? To quickly define it, we could point to instruments who play the music. For instance, North Carolina's own John Coltrane. Anybody? Hailing from High Point, right? Okay. Just a short way from here, used to live, and is probably the most famous name that embraced and transformed the music. We might also mention Sun Ra, Cecil Taylor, Pharoah Sanders, Matthew Shipp, Nina Simone, Holla, William Parker, the Art Ensemble of Chicago, and so on. We could say how the music is made. It's always, and I will use this absolute qualifier on purpose here, it is always improvised. And we could say what it doesn't have, showing the negation here. Netty style. Unlike almost every other type of music, it doesn't have a key. Where are my keys? I don't have a key either. It doesn't have a key. Or as Daniel Carter says, it has all the keys. And it doesn't have a time signature or a steady repetitive rhythm, so there's more stuff that yours truly has in keeping with the music, right? Okay, especially the repetitive rhythm. But none of that captures what the music is or isn't yet. I haven't even barely approached that. So we're also going to demonstrate. It's probably the best way. And then ask everyone to participate, even better. The music is famous for making everyone want to participate. But it doesn't have to be with the music. Some people draw. We've got or write. We've got the paper. I don't know if we came up with the pens, but
we got pens.
We got pens.
Thank you, Jordan.
Can somebody pass those out, please? I would love that, just to make them available for us.
You see the paper there too, Gary, right there, the cream stuff.
Yeah. And so, Gavin, what am I supposed to do with this?
Anybody want some?
Draw, write words, scribble, doodle, write poetry, write your prose, write your feelings, write write a love letter. You can be critical, but no, don't write a nasty thing unless it's to yourself. Then you can be dirty all get out, right? So yeah, and then there is welcome. Oh, I can't. The queen and her princess. Oh, very good. So there's instruments. We passed those out. Here's some more instruments here. I'll bring them over. Yeah, if you want to sit right over here, that would be great. There's like some Sesame Street. There's soundboards in there, right? Cool. So feel free to create. That's your carte blanche.
Hey, darling, look.
So
Lots of colors.
I'm going to be showing you a little bit how to demonstrate and to cut loose and to resonate and to move. But before I get too wide open, in the spirit of creating a vortex of energy, I wonder if our resident percussionist up here on the stage would be so kind as to maybe invite our transcorporeal friends in to be with all of these corporeal spirit beings. So please welcome to the Elsewhere Tabernacle, Aurora Echo.
Elsewhere Tabernacle, that's great.
I just improvised.
That's great. Yeah, we've had different ways of invoking other entities that may want to join us, and this one hit home because this is an ancestral music. This is a lineage of pathfinders. Larry said earlier, luminaries. I thought that was an excellent word. So I want to have a moment of silence to honor the silence and to honor them, because I'm not exactly an expert. None of us really are. And we were hoping to have the guy that wrote the book. And he was going to probably touch on a lot of this stuff. So this is social change music. It's about freedom. It's spiritual music. It's about searching the mystery. So I think the best way to do that is just a quick moment of silence and just to think about that and to honor all of the men and women that have been judged very harshly so that we can casually talk about this tonight. So. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you. Gavin?
Can you kick it back to me?
I already am. Look at that.
You already did.
I improvised a moment of silence instead of talking.
Okay. It's time to do a little audience participation, and it's going to come up from wherever the home of your ohm is. Okay, so it might be aum, it might be om, it might be the from amen, But I invite everybody to co-create this vortex of energy from within your space of om, and you can match or not match anybody's frequency of om, but it says here, introduce or induce. I don't know how to induce a om, but let's just induce the om to come out of ourselves, okay? And maybe we'll just do it on a 1, 2, 3 in breath, and then om at your own pace, and then we'll do it the magic number 3 times. How about that? Okay. We're already grounded from the silence that Aurora brought us to. Mama and Father Spirit and all of the incorporeal beings and spirits of the music. that's all within each one of us. Now, let's take our deep inhale. Great job, y'all. That sounded good.
Come on. You're grounded. You can applaud.
I said that sounded good. That was it. Felt and sounded good. So, in the spirit of tenets of participation, in the pursuit of the unknown, folly is inevitable. Silence is the bedrock of all sound and being. Honor the silence. Images, thoughts, and emotions that arise do so for a purpose. Allow them to come through and be. Share or don't share as comfortable. Thank you for sharing. Presence. Presence 'tis the season, but the presence in the now is participation enough. So thank you for your presence. And now, may I introduce the superhero of the Perceiver of Sound League, its founder and Clark Kent. Cass's lesser half, Gary Height. Mild-mannered man over here.
Like most people, I could barely stand the music when I first heard it. It seemed aggressively dissonant, confusing, noisy. I was a college radio DJ playing country music in New York City. But I'd take every free ticket I could to sing a lot of writing, and I would find that certain kinds of jazz, like after I listened, I could stay up writing for 6 hours. Good stuff, you know? And so I got kind of addicted to it. And got into the harder and harder stuff. And then later as a musician, I came back and I got into the free improv scene. I got into a band called Hot Kitty, and the horn player was Daniel Carter. And he rapidly sucked me into this whole world. And after a while, he was, to me, he's the embodiment of the music. All About Jazz calls him one of the legendary masters of creative music. And he was regarded by the other free musicians as being too free. They were always mad at him. And he played with punk bands, country bands, folk bands, classical ensembles, any ensemble that would have him. But always on the condition that he was completely free in what he played. And he told me all these stories about his conflicts with the echelons, the powers that be in the free jazz world. Like, you know, and they're all scuffling, you know, nobody's making any money. And he'd even goad me into throwing grenades, you know, on his behalf, unwittingly sometimes in this, you know, socio-political context. For Daniel Carter, the music was his life. He was one of a group of musicians who played the music, although there was very little money or fame involved. In the 90s, I'd say this community probably numbered in New York in the hundreds. But those who only played the music were maybe a couple dozen. And one group I was in met every week at a dance studio, both musicians and dancers. And we did this once a week for 2 years and never played a gig. Daniel and I would play a couple gigs a week all through the last half of the 90s. It was an intersection of all these different nebulas. Like he would play with Sonic Youth, Yola Tango, Martin Medeski and Woods, Cecil, Jaco Pastorius, Yoko Ono, and every weird 20-something who went through New York City and liked to play improvised music. And no matter who it was, he would not do what they told him to do. But what he would do would always be better than what they had in mind. The Village Voice would always compare him to Lee Konitz for his smooth, velvety tone. But with him, I found quick and early that the music doesn't have to be noisy. And if it was confusing, it's only because you weren't paying enough attention. And if you did, things got interesting quickly because there are all kinds of interesting things going on. And it's not really aggressively dissonant, but it always embraces the wider set of harmonies with gusto. You know, it's a sort of shift of perception. And at the heart of it, the conviction is that you're not playing the music's already there and you're just tuning into it. The best kind of band, Daniel would say, was like an array of antennas, you know, to listen to the sounds of faraway planets. So everybody is tuning in, but they're not like so much a leader and followers in the group. They're all like pointing out into space. And it was his way of thinking. The music was very subtle, and it's all you could do to stay on the ridge and follow it. And any hierarchy between the musicians would be a disastrous diversion of resources away from, you know, the tender listening and attention that had to be paid in order to make it. So there's communities of musicians playing the music in most big cities around the world, even here in Greensboro. I had experience of the New York community, but there's all kinds of things going on in Chicago, Baltimore, San Francisco, other countries that I don't even know about. I've heard about the scenes in Mexico City, all over South America, and I have no idea what's going on out there, but there's like tons of people doing this. And so we were going to have Jason Bivens out, and he just canceled yesterday. He had a family emergency. But that gives us more time for all of us to jam, so that's cool. And next, Aurora's just, back together.
I just tried to reel the man back in. He was like about to go run over his next cue that he wrote for himself. Yeah. So, about to take us through a tour of the music via historical samplings is our featured musician extraordinaire. They, having steeped themselves in the music for ages, are ready to unveil some eccentric exposition on our favorite subject. Please welcome back to the Elsewhere stage from the etheric atmosphere, Aurora! Echo, 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 echo!
I love it so much. Thank you. That's on the recorder. Oh, the group is Poetry from the Future.
Yeah. And that's Daniel Carter, Claire Brunner on bassoon, and
Leibowitz, right?
Yeah, on piano, and the drummer's name I can't remember.
Yeah, I wrote that stuff down. Yeah. But that's that's only from a few years ago.
Yeah, that's from 2017.
So you see that has like kind of almost more of a modern classical, almost, right, minimalistic aspect. So I think for me, what the takeaway in my experience, it hasn't been ages, but but what I have steeped in is the call to free myself from self-imposed restrictions. Even if I learned them from outside, it's weird, and all the musicians in here, they're all either nodding or inside going, yes. Because it's this idea that there's a wrong and a right. And I would, and you know, in context, sure, you know, but this is the avenue, the lack of genre, all of the keys. So this is the idea of, to me, it's all about chemistry, right? It's all about the group that comes together and says, I'm just channeling what I channel, you're just channeling what you're channeling. And that could sound like a big ego trip to a lot of people, but in experience, and I think of also, I think Gavin said about it tends to catch on. People want to participate. I know everyone here is itching to do so, and the reason is because you feel that freedom and lack of ego, because people aren't trying to prove themselves by hitting all the right notes or whatever, and everybody's just kind of humbly presenting what they have at the moment, and it creates this amazing energy that you feel like the kids can join, I can join. It doesn't matter, and that's what draws me to the community, to the music, and hopefully that was informative and clarifies a little bit of the history of how we got to where we're at. Gavin, save me.
I really loved that sampling, and yeah, it was really, that's what music is where it is at.
Charcuterie, is that your?
That was a good charcuterie board. That was delicious. My mouth was watering. And okay, so discussion, right?
Well, also, we were talking. You were talking about how you come into this, music through movement, and so we were going to talk a little bit about that, and then do a little demo, so people could practice that, and then we're going to do a big jam with. But I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, no. I mean, that is what I wanted to talk about now, because I mean, the way that I see, like Aurora was talking about, freeing self from the self-imposed restrictions. As an ingenue or an outsider, I know I should lower myself to that, but bear with me. When you're we're paying homage or respect to folks that are very skilled in their craft, that that have worked tireless hours in order to perfect some type of, whatever it is, skill set, professional at some level. You've got a lot that you've learned. You've got a lot of armor that you put on. You've got a lot of weaponry. You got a lot of stuff in your utility belt, right? And I think maybe that was my impression of, I don't even know if anybody has said the term avant-garde. I don't know if I just whamageddoned us all and was you said the word. So but that's my term for the music, or maybe something to describe it. But I saw professionals being like, oh, well, that's how you get to that. Freedom is to go through years of restraint and serious study and delineation and matriculation and stuff that I've never even dabbled in whatsoever. But I came at it from the opposite end, like Gary said, from movement, because at a certain point in age, I couldn't keep up with modern music, and I started pop back in the day, and it was just stuff that was always spoon-fed. And then, maybe I went a little bit alternative, but then I just got lost, and I'm like, well, I like stuff that I've never heard before. And then the stuff that I really, really liked was that offbeat, that non-syncopated. I didn't have words for it. I was just like, this shit is edgy. This is way beyond, but not beyond something inside, that was percolating. It was just like, wow, this is just frenetic, I was going like an epileptic fit, in a good way. What's going on here? And so then I was just like, well, I approached it from different, but I believe that you can come at it from all different angles, because the freedom is what I keep hearing Aurora say. And so rhythmic freedom, harmonic freedom, how many different directions, pathways of freedom can you take? It's probably an infinite amount. And so that freedom was was like, okay, this is the ecstatic dance that I'm looking for, that I'm trying to feel inside. Because believe me, I have friends that are ballroom dancers, and then my girlfriends, and was just like, okay, dance with me, partner, and I'm like, you can't dance. You know, the two left feet phenomenon. And I'm just like, oh, it's embarrassing, I'm uncomfortable. And we might all feel a little bit uncomfortable here, like moving, but in our sedentary lifestyle, we got to get out of that, right? We've got to just like move those walls that we've only put on ourselves to break through, even if that is in the silence of meditation, even if that is in that presence is participation, okay? And so I'm really not going to demonstrate, but I'm going to play with Aurora, and y'all will be welcome to participate and play with each other with your movement or not. But I'm going to let my antennas out, okay? And let these little piggies go to market here. When your whole body is receiving, your whole body is the ear. Then you could go into the inner ear, where the smallest bones of the body are moving, rhythmically or not, translating to the inner ear, to the brain that creates the experience, but isn't where you are the source of the music. Because that's where it's coming from, it's not from the outside. So, I'll welcome everybody to make your sounds, to make your silence, to move your body, to unbridle yourself, for your toes and your nose to wiggle and allow that belly to do what it does. Breathe in, breathe out, use that bellows breath. And This is our audience participation part, right?
And also, I wanted to, we were talking about this earlier, you could also, if you want to talk,
Yeah.
just talk. Speaking is also valid, or if you, want to read, pick up something and read it, or,
Yeah.
scrape things on the floor, whatever. Just wanted to mention all that. If you're in movement, if you can get up like Gavin does and move your whole body, or maybe you just want to focus on your hand and what it feels like, whatever. But if everybody participates, it'll be more fun.
Yeah. Does anybody need does anybody need to set up anything or have any, I don't know. I think Larry's got this stuff over here.
Get a vortex of
have stuff,
energy
Judge?
going through here.
There's things in the vehicle. Do we need to bring anything in?
I mean, how long do we have? Do we have chunk of time?
Let's see what time it is.
I'm saying if you would like to participate, I want you to,
Yeah,
Go
go right
Pretty far
get
away.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
What time is it now?
Oh yeah, super quick. Do it. It's 7:53.
Oh, great. So we got at least a half an hour.
Yeah.
What do you think? You up for that?
30 minutes. That's
Okay.
a lot of time.
Do you need a hand?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Does
Well then,
anyone,
we're gonna jump in though.
does anyone have any questions?
Awesome.
I wanted somebody to be like, Gavin, what do I do? What do I not do?
I was gonna say where are the drugs, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in your, it's all in your head.
My tribe says you are the medicine.
This little wooden box, so if there is questions, if there is comments, if there is concerns, if there is,
I thought that was an instrument.
I know. If there's recommendations, if you know somebody that should present or something like that, anything, you've got paper, newspaper, put them in here. You can be anonymous, even if it's a question, be anonymous, we'll answer it on Facebook. Just, we're just trying to get you guys to participate.
A real suggestion.
But this is what that is. So I'll put that over here by more paper, then.
Yeah, we want to have all y'all present at some point. So
Exactly.
let us know what you want to talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about that. I mean, if you're questioning what type of movement, also question what type of presentation am I going to do in the 13th episode of the Perceiver and Sound League? Because you will be here. And you, if you want, can get this super fabulous introduction. Or not, and I'll stop there. But yes, incorporate all of the senses. Then use your vision, use your tactile thing, please move around. And this is an interactive living museum, and so these are not holy relics. They're sacred, but they're most sacred when you handle them and you give them your attention.
I want you to
Your
explore
energy, right? Oh yeah, cool.
Power back there. Larry's on the bell.
I got a plug right here.
Power right here.
I think Judson wants to explore the space back there, though, which I think is that's a great idea. Some soundboards.
Do you know Judson?
I do. Okay, he's jamming together before. Matt, did you have stuff? Well, we're gonna jump in.
Okay.
I'm no Max Roach, but.
Yeah, they don't adjust.
Doesn't get the hump.
I don't know.
That was sweet.
That was amazing, guys.
I don't think we have too much more time, but if we have another 10 minutes, we could play a little more.
Yes.
But
Anyone that
I
wants
just
to, feel
I don't
free.
have a
but-
watch. Does anybody have, like my cell phone just evaporates?
It's 8:20.
Well, we,
8:30 is our wrap up? Yeah. If anyone wants to keep going, please do.
well, I would want to at least say do like not a formal Q&A, but who wants to express something they've written or something that's on their heart? Doesn't have to be in words. Did you draw something?
I can share something.
Yeah, please, Jason.
I just wanted to say one of the most appealing things about coming here tonight, I've never been to anything like this or anything even remotely like this before in my life, was just the urge to peel back my convention a little bit and a chance to just do whatever inspired me for the moment spontaneously without fear of judgment from anyone else. I think that it was it's just all of life that surrounds us is all about constant scrutiny, constant judgment, and I'm finding myself attracted to like a truly judgment-free zone. And all my life I've been under the confines of a strong group dynamic, let's just say, and pressure to conform, even in conforming, it's conforming to being non-conformist. You know what I mean?
Amen. Yeah.
So I just thought it would be cool to come here and just kind of let myself go for a second and just kind of spaz out for a minute. So that's all I really wanted to say. And thank you guys for being a part of it. It's cool.
No, thank you. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. Anybody else? I saw some drawing. I saw some. The words
must have drawn
were
something.
beautiful and
Together.
Oh, cool. Let's see.
Oh, it's kind of light though, just with a crayon.
Oh, look at that movement. Look at that
I have to say that I just appreciate everybody so much for
Let me
being
put it on the
I
camera.
really do.
Oh.
I mean, because it is that field of non-judgment that like opens the door. You know, it's easy for us. We talk about it. We're at the
Yeah.
campfire going, how do we tell people
Yeah.
that we don't care? We want them to come and make the worst and the best and everything. And you just go, and it's, you know, you can try. And so then I think we've settled on this. It's like, just keep throwing out the opportunity. That this is this little bit of time and space at this place. And thank you to Elsewhere for letting us come and do this and having 2 hours and just so you guys know, Elsewhere used to be under different, you know, management and stuff, and it was a little more exclusionary. It was definitely, I mean, my experience of playing here, we talked about this, like in punk bands and stuff like that. It was like, yes, no. It was like, you know, walking to the right group of people, maybe you felt like really invited. But I never came in on the off night or the off chance or whatever. It's different now. It really is. And Matthew, that's helping us out with this, is just a big-hearted guy, all about community. And that's really what this is. I mean, this is about a community based in that freedom, right? That I mean, you're hearing everyone argue about what is and isn't liberty and isn't freedom, and I'm like, I thought we defined this, right? Like, as long as I'm not hurting someone or infringing on their ability, don't I get to do that here? Isn't that the deal? And like you said, it's not. That's not true. In fact, it's almost even more like,
Yeah.
you know, we're looking for an enemy constantly, and this is a type of art form that it just eradicates.
I don't have a box to put you in, so that scares me.
Right, and this is the box for all the people that don't fit in the box. It's like, here you go. Like,
Damn big box.
it's a damn big box. It is. All the
Big,
notes.
it doesn't even walls.
Yeah, oh, I love that. Yes, absolutely. The box without walls, yeah.
I like to say something. I haven't been to Elsewhere in like 8 years. I've been out in Colorado, but they had an exhibit where you took bouncy balls, and when you hit that bouncy ball, it reminded me of how everyone can be a musician. because you just take those things, and it's true, it was a little bit of a chance. You might have a little bit of aim, but you'd hit something that made noise. And I feel like that's how some of us need to approach music sometimes, even if that we've been trained and skilled in an instrument. Just throw something at it for a while with another group of people within a judgment-free zone and see what happens. It's going to be fun, It's going to be a good time. And I like things that aren't as structured sometimes as well. It does help you reach a new place. It helps you reach a new place within yourself and with another group of people through expression. And what do we have that's greater than expression, in terms of driving some sense of creativity? Music is such a form of communication that has eclipsed many boundaries. It was really nice hearing your lecture and some of these samples with jazz and some of the musicians that you had brought up. I mean, triggered some names back in my memory bank, and those were people that did push those boundaries. And who doesn't hit some type of obstacle, whether it's other people and their judgments, or whether it's your record label's like, no way we're going to let you record any of this stuff, But at the same time, that's not really what it's about. Sometimes it's a one-off, This will never be done again. That's beautiful, And it's really amazing that, like you said, that Matthew opened up this space. I'm just happy to be a part of it now that I'm back in town.
Awesome to have you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you guys for sharing too. I mean, it's encouraging, very encouraging.
Yeah, what you said wrapped it up. It's what you just said, I'm like, oh my God, you just described all of my passion and me coming out of my cage that I had to rattle it. I had to throw it against lots of things before I was like, oh shit, I had the keys the whole time, but now I gotta toss those too, because I'm having too much fun making this cage rattle. And there's the keys, make them shake and rattle, And just with the judgment free,
Yeah. I just want to say, as the only female that was sitting here playing mostly, my journey to atonality or avant-garde-ish, free-ish music was totally, probably hit in college when your ears get really big and they turn into giant telescopes that are listening for signs of intelligence in the universe. And I was already one of those kids that, you're a girl, you're not supposed to like science fiction, you're not supposed to this or that or whatever. So I was already a person who was used to lots of boxes. And so coming to school allowed me to unbox all the boxes. And then, fortunately, went to the record store on Tate Street and met the people that ran it and people that were buying the music there, and somehow immediately, and I'd always been a music lover, but I started hearing, stuff I'd never ever conceived of. Eugene Chadbourne lived in this town and played I think he might have been one of my first live performances that I ever saw. Probably a club performance. So imagine that. Imagine going from Peter Frampton, 13, to Eugene Chadbourne at 18.
Yeah.
And so,
do you feel what he feels now?
Oh, who? Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure. Been there and back. But it's just marvelous to be a listener and then a friend of and a watcher of bands, an appreciator, collector of music, explorer, lover. But to be untrained, resisting I don't want any piano, I don't want any, I don't want any of this stuff. I didn't know what I wanted, but I just wanted something else. And so, meeting people like Gary and other people like in F-Art that I've known in Eugene, turning me on all this different kinds of music and showing me that's another rule. Like you're saying, these sets of rules that you have to be a professional or you have to go to school for it. Now, of course, there's practice involved because you want to get, I guess, your language. You want to improve your vocabulary, as it were. If you're speaking music, when your baby talk is when you get started, and eventually you learn how to put words together, is the way I'm looking at it.
I like that. No, that's good.
So I'm probably still like a maybe a 3-year-old or 4, I'm starting to sort of understand how senses maybe go together and appreciate how colors, there are colors and sounds and all these other things. Not synesthesia, but
No, but shapes and
an
colors,
inner-
textures.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
And being able to look at a piece of, let's say, art, which has been my thing all my life. But now looking at modern art is completely different because I understand the music that those painters were listening to, contemporaneously with what they're creating, and helping me understand what I'm seeing and feeding it back through this brain loop so that it makes a whole different kind of sense than it ever did before. So it's just been marvelous, and I'm just grateful to have been on the sound journey I've been on. I'm grateful to have met this dude
Same.
and the whole group of you.
Sarah Jane, what you were saying made me think of something that I want to say before I forget it. Because I noticed they've gotten better at it now, but like in the 80s, 90s, people who went to music school, if they wanted to do improvised music, they had to do at least 2 or 3 years of unlearning stuff, before they could really begin to do it. Now they incorporate more improvisation into the curricula at the music schools, but probably not that much. But a lot. But back then it was crazy. Like if you met somebody who was just out of music school, it would it would be crippling.
Yeah, they got to unlearn all these things that they, spent hours teaching themselves.
Yeah.
This is probably because I'm untrained too, but we had a conversation about you one time, and I was like, what's her, she's like an orchestra cat, like she's really trained, and they're like, no, and I was like, well, me. That's like, I mean, because that was my experience of you, especially that day in the studio, listening to you play marimba, and I'm hearing somebody play marimba going, why was she? Why did we have her on this whole fucking record? Like, what were we doing? And the takeaways, I'm thinking this person's been playing percussion her whole life, and then you hear it's not. But what I'm saying is, so then, the thing about that to me is the authenticity. See, it's like when we talk about all these great iconoclastic artists, of course they have some background of exploration and education, but the thing that we're talking about is at some point they had to some degree, let go of that and just be who they are. And you don't have to go to Juilliard to be yourself. And you don't have to go to Juilliard to express what is happening in the now. And so it's not to put down a formal education or the ability. I mean, I'm never going to be able to do what Coltrane and Max Roach and Monk are doing, but also at 37, maybe don't pursue that. Maybe pursue what I really want, which is to express, which is just to get what I'm feeling right now, transmute it into art that maybe might resonate with other people, and do good.
Because Aurora's got to do Aurora.
I just got to do Aurora.
Because they're already doing them.
They're already doing them. They're taking.
Anybody else doing them.
And we hear people say that a lot, but it's another thing to internalize, to integrate that, to say, wait, that is the difference. If I'm going to listen to the advice of all of these greats, and we would talk about, like, Coltrane's on his deathbed. Did he say the answer is go to school, learn it, and then unlearn it? No. No. They did all the work, and they're the pioneers, and they're the pathfinders who then go, you got to go on your inner journey. You have to do your thing. And if you want to know, and I think the vocabulary thing is perfect, because if you want to say a word or string together a sentence and you find yourself not being able to, well, there's technique and education to do that. But the impetus of that is your need for authentic expression, not to appease or to fit into anything, but rather that, just to meet yourself where you're at, and then get that from the inside out. And if you need tools, they're available. But beyond that, it starts to become something else, doesn't it? And then it ends up being very limiting.
It feels like work.
It feels like work.
What you're getting, what you're trying to escape from.
Well, you made me think of something else, which was Coltrane. Like, he was kind of acknowledged to be the greatest, right? And then he quit doing heroin. Like, he was, going around playing like every night and stuff like that. Then he quit doing heroin, and then he had to start doing this music. That was basically the sequence. Like, he quit doing heroin, and then he had to stop playing show tunes. You know, he had to start playing just this stuff.
Well, that's why I had to include A Love Supreme, even though it's not free music, because here he is in the liner note is a spiritual, some people say poem, which is interesting, but it's a proclamation of him saying, I was freed of my addictions by the one true God, which let's not use that word because that's triggering, a love supreme. And that what came out of it was an urgent need, right, to express all of that. And again, the internal, this huge thing, and now I got to reach for it and get it out. But as soon as he accomplishes that record's over. What are you going to do? Another Love Supreme Part 2? No. And it just, like I said, the wheels come off. And now all of a sudden he's getting more people together from different genres and different skill levels and all of the weird cats on the fringe and saying, let's all just have more of a common spiritual basis than some sort of musical basis. I mean, they're all pros, and I mean, I'm not trying, but the point was, Elvin left the band. He still wanted to keep time, and I think that's fair, right? But it's like, that was his way of expressing that, and then John says, we're branching even further. We're not going to do that. It doesn't have to swing. We don't have to stay quiet. You don't have to wear a suit. That's really, think about it. That's the time period we're talking about. Is people like dropping the whole scam of it. Like all we have the separation of anything that's sort of a construct to sell it goes away. And that's why we don't know about free music quite the same as we do about the in records. Because I think whoever said it about the record label, that's so true. It's so true. The record label, yeah, you said it right. It's so true. And we don't even think about how much music that we're listening to has been influenced by all the suits and all this stuff. And so here's an aspect of our history, of our American culture, of music that's saying, we've been kind of in the trenches, guys, because we're not doing it.
I just want to say it's kind of like all the other arts where they have a sunward side, if you will, and that's the religion.
Right. And then the esoteric.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got the occult tradition, which just means hidden. And so free jazz is the occult version of the jazz language that was created here.
But occult just means hidden.
Just like you said.
And so how do you get to that hidden? You gotta unravel it. You gotta unwind it. You gotta unbox it. You gotta shed that. You gotta molt that. And that's not a comfortable thing.
It's not easy either, right?
It's not. It definitely is not it's not the low road. Yeah, no, that's the high, hard road. But that expression, that letting it out, I got express, like the express lane, but you gotta clear the Autobahn. No stops, right?
No stops.
And that's get it out, like purge that right now. Express ion, just energy, expression. And meet yourself where you are. You gotta start somewhere, but there's only one place to start, and that's right here, right now. And there is no place to get to either, right? Yeah. Is there any destination in this type of music? So it's like it's a journey, but it's also, I feel like I'm searching and seeking, but I don't know what I'm searching or seeking for. And but I'm open to what I'm going to find out. And then in that expression, I'm stretching myself. I'm constant. And then you said you get meanings. Things start to understand. And that is so counterintuitive. I don't know how that happens. It doesn't make any sense, but it does intuitively when you've let go of that corporate propaganda that we didn't even realize that we bought and sold, that we took in hook, line, and sinker. And so in my spiritual traditions, like tribal and authentic indigenous, it's all about the unlearning. It's all about the getting into that vulnerable place. and purging out all the stuff I'd been attached to and had identified with. And then full freedom and opportunity to explore and find out.
What are a lot of Americans looking for in
Yeah.
their religion right now?
Right.
Ecstasis.
Yeah.
They want ecstasy.
Yeah.
They want to be out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praising something out there.
And this is immediate,
This is in here.
but it's also everything that we're talking about. It's this
Everything.
infinite and huge. It's not limited, and yet it's so immediate. And if you lit yourself, you fall all the way into ecstasy, and that is harder. That's the thing. It's like I can talk a good game, but a lot of these guys know I've talked about like hours of shedding with a guy, and you're just hating everything and trying, and then all of a sudden, like a runner's high,
Yeah.
you're there,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't even know what happened.
Yeah.
And you listen back to the tape maybe, and you think, here it comes, it's going to be garbage or whatever, and then you feel a piece of that energy still in there like an ember, and you just know, okay, more of that. How do I? So then the work and the exercise is getting rid of the clearing the Autobahn. Just let's keep clearing that, and maybe we can clear that before we even hit the first note. And then this is the spiritual component. It would relate to who I am outside of music. That's the thing we haven't even touched on. This is all making me a better person. I came to this by being from a spiritual angle of needing to express stuff that had no memory, that had no word, and going, I'm a musician. How come I can't do that? And then I had to force myself to break down those barriers and to do something bad and childish and silly and irreverent, whatever. And the next thing I know, I'm able to do something I've always wanted to do. And like Gavin said, the key was in my pocket the whole time. Not still your line. It was good.
Yeah, and we're unlocked. We were the only warden that was keeping us in solitary.
Yeah, there's no one I could be angry at.
Yeah, you don't even realize you're your own jailer.
That's right.
Always.
Well, we probably better
Yeah.
clean up because they're gonna try to lock up at night.
Oh.
Thank us.
Where's the gong? Where's the gong? We like to, let's close it with a little
Oh yeah.